Hi! This is a quick video where I want to yap about SteamVR Bindings. I feel like SteamVR Bindings are heavily underused, they have so much potential to increase your quality of life in VR. So in this video I want to show you the way I personally use my SteamVR Bindings, and I want to ask you guys how you maybe have a custom setup for SteamVR Bindings to increase your quality of life. If you have anything, please share that in the comments. I also want to yap a little bit about other software that I personally use for quality of life in VRChat. And that's basically the purpose of this video. So for now, let's switch to my own view and then I can show you. Okay, welcome to my own VR view. Let's start with the stuff that I can do. So on my B button, on the right hand, I have my space drag. I unbinded the menu. I only have the menu on the left hand because I want to use the B button on the right hand for moving around. Then on the A button, I have my action menu, which is also nice. I want to be able to open that quickly without holding anything. On the south of my right trackpad, I toggle my gestures on and off. North. Did I say south? I think I mean north. So it's very quick and easy to enable or disable gestures depending on what avatar you use and what you want to do. On the, well, this time south of my trackpad, I can toggle my personal mirror on and off. It's very useful because sometimes I'm in a conversation with somebody or I just want to check if my hip is drifting or anything like that. I don't use it a lot generally, but I like toggling it on, checking, toggling it off. And it's very quick. Nobody notices anything, and it's very quick to do. Very helpful. On my right joystick, well, looking around, and if I click, I jump. Whee! And on my right system button, I unbound the SteamVR Dashboard menu. I only do that with my left system button. You can unbind that, yeah. So on my right system button, I have OVR Toolkit. And now I can, with the left hand, I can toggle my SteamVR Dashboard, and on my right hand, I can toggle my OVR Toolkit. Cool. Let's go to the left hand, what I have here. First of all, the joystick. If I move around with the joystick clicking, I reset my position. On my left trackpad, anywhere, I toggle my floor bounds. You can see I have the floor guardian here. I know where my room ends. And if I click it, it's gone. So if I sit down somewhere and I have a good time, I don't need to see it. And if I want to know where my wall is, I can toggle it on and off. Very useful to have as a quick toggle. Quick intermission from editing me. If you want more information on that, please check out this video. I will link it in the description. The SteamVR Guardian and MetaQuest headsets. It's also explaining how to toggle the Guardian, even like without the MetaQuest headset. Very good if you want to have the same setup there. Left B button is just the VRChat menu, default, and left A button is the mute button. Fun fact, I was recording all of this already, and I muted myself last time, also in the recording, and boom, I need to do it again. But this time, hopefully, it's more structured. Okay, so now you know what my personal bindings are and how I use them at the moment. Now let's talk about the settings. How do you do that? How much more is possible? So first of all, usually I just go to OVR Advanced Settings and then Bindings. It's the quickest way for me to get there. And then go back twice. Then you have this window, which is ultimately what we want. You have all the different softwares listed that you have installed. And then you can set the bindings for each software. You can also go to VR settings, like Steam, VR settings, controllers, manage controller bindings, and then choose another. And then go back. I don't know. Anyways, this is how I get here. And then you can change settings. So for example, in the VR dashboard, which is, you know, the normal SteamVR menu, I went to System Actions, and on the left controller we have single click toggle dashboard. By default, that's on the right hand as well, and I just pressed the bin. I deleted it because, well, I want to toggle my other stuff with this. And at the same time, for OVR Toolkit, I went in here. OVR Toolkit is a little bit interesting because by default, even if you put anything as a normal click, like I have on the, I need to disable the mirror mode, and then on the system button, I put edit mode. This is the basically toggling windows. And the weird thing is, by default, it's always a double click. Well, weird. That's intended by design, but not within the SteamVR binding system, but outside. So I currently have it set to just one click on the button and I open it. And that needs to change something manually in the config files. I'll show you that, hopefully, now. So if you want to toggle the edit mode without a double click, you need to go to your app data, localhost, Curtis English, OVR Toolkit, and then open up this config.json. And in here you will have this line, single click edit mode. By default it is set to false, but you can set it to true, and then you can use it with just one click. Yeah, if you don't change that settings, each button that you bind here will be a double click. And if you change that setting, now it will be just a single click. Maybe also interesting, I have my keyboard attached to my hand like this. And I think it's very useful because sometimes, you know, I don't know, you're lying down or somewhere, your keyboard is in a weird position. If you just have the keyboard in the hand like this, you will always find it. It's very quick to make a hotkey. Also, one thing that's interesting that I wanted to talk about is speech to text. There's a really nice built-in thing from Windows. Have you ever had the experience that somebody messages you on Discord while you're in VR and it's a pain trying to text back? Yes. So speech to text is very useful for that. I just realized my neighbors are hammering and I hope you don't hear that. But I think it should be fine. So if you have Windows 11, by default, you can just press Windows H. And now it's listening to me and typing everything that I'm saying into the chat box that I'm currently in. Boom! There it is. And it's very, very useful. It's just there by default. It works very good. And I think I'm gonna use that every single time I want to reply to anybody while in VR. Yeah, and you can also do that if you are in the VRChat window and you're in a chat box in VRChat to reply or something like that. Can highly recommend using that. And the weird thing with OVR Toolkit is somehow you need to toggle the Windows button off again, otherwise it won't do normal key presses anymore because it keeps thinking it's a hotkey. But that is something that is very useful. It's there by default. There's also a software called VRYap that you can use for dictating and using OSC chatbox. I started using it a bit, but for now I find the Windows dictating feature more useful. And that's cool and good. Yeah. What else is there? Talking about keyboards, I also recently started using the YuuBoard. It's also a free software. I'll put all the links down in the description. Thanks, Gosha, for sharing this. Because the default keyboard from SteamVR is not good. You're missing a lot of keys that you usually need. So YuuBoard is an overlay, and it allows you to type, and it has Control Windows Alt. It has media control. It has a numpad, and it's performant. You can move it around easily. You can reset the position. It's overall a very nice keyboard for the SteamVR Dashboard. So I usually use a mixture of the SteamVR screens like this and the keyboard, or the OVR Toolkit keyboard and screens, depending on the situation. With this I feel more involved in the VR world because the fingers still work, there's no resolution changes or dimming of anything. And I can still use my hotkeys in VRChat if I'm not pointing. If you point your hand at the screen, the hotkeys won't work, but if both hands are not pointing at anything of OVR Toolkit, you can still use your hotkeys and change things and whatever. So that is useful. Yeah, what I wanted to show is the other possibilities for the VRChat bindings. There's a lot of things you can do. As you see, I have on my D-pad, trackpad. I use that as a D-pad. Then you have north, east, south, west, and it actually works really well. At the start I was not sure if that works properly, but it does work really well, and you can use it for different buttons. For example, gesture toggle, personal mirror. And let me show you what else is possible. For example, for ease, you can activate save mode, you can open any menu, you can jump, grab, interact, toggle microphone, use Udon stuff, you can open the chat box, you can toggle the face mirror, open the camera, you can toggle earmuffs. There's a lot of things you can do with bindings in VRChat, and I'm really grateful that VRChat added this and started using this thing, because now you have all the control. You can customize the experience for your own needs, and it's very, very useful and helpful. You can also make hotkeys for, or like bindings for any gesture on any hand. If you have any custom need, I think you can probably do that, and it's very, very nice. Personally, I already showed my bindings. I don't have too much. Gesture toggle, personal mirror, and the action menu, I guess. You can also make different changes for just one-handed, for the menu in general, for the action menu, for the drone. It's very, very cool that you can do that. Also, maybe a little bit late now, but anyways, does anybody know how to properly use chords, poses, haptic skeletons? Anything, any cool use case that you have for that? I never used that. I think it's probably cool, but I don't have any use for it really. Ah, there's chords here for activating safe mode if you do all the things at the same time. Fair enough. Poses? I have no idea what that is. It's cool though. If you guys know something cool, please share. I want to have a cool optimized VR experience. Also, sorry about this corner here. Well, it's like somewhere over there. If this corner, it's unfortunately just there if you use the SteamVR view. If you want to have a decent FOV. Yeah, maybe space drag. You can also customize a lot of stuff there in the OVR advanced settings, bindings. So, personally I have the B button as the right hand space drag and the thumbstick click on the left hand for wrist offsets, which works fine for me. But just to show you, there's a lot more stuff possible here as well. You can have space turn, which is maybe useful for infinity walking. You can toggle gravity, reverse gravity. You can apply offsets, snap turn. Useful stuff there. If you don't know what gravity is, it's also kind of fun because in the OVR advanced settings, motion, you can turn on gravity, put it to 0, and now you're floating. Whee! Because there's 0 gravity. And then you reset. It's also pretty fun. Although personally I don't use it a lot. I know some people like to use it. You have like fling strength and you can go really quick distance if you want. Kind of cheat the system for like quick movement in VRChat. I don't use it. I know some people do. Oh yeah, I wanted to also yap about action menus, or I did so in the previous recording at least. You can have 2 action menus open at the same time. I always use the right one and I have it bound to my face so I can control it even without looking at my hand. You know, if I'm in a conversation with somebody talking and then maybe I want to change my shirt, I can just go ahead and do that without really... I can still look at people's faces and eyes without having to look down or anything like that. So I think that's really useful. And funnily enough, you can also have 2 action menus open at the same time and control independent from each other. I never use that, but it's good. While we're at it, we can also talk about quick stuff for here. So, for example, if you double-click the sound volume, then you automatically toggle on and off earmuff mode. If you double-click the camera mode, you will disable or enable the camera. I think there's more stuff. Yeah, if you double-click this here icon, you open the world page that we're currently in. Oh yeah, fpsVR, I didn't talk about that. Yeah, right. Maybe you've seen that here and wondered, oh, what is this? It's fpsVR. And it shows me my frame time for the application I'm currently in. So it's very useful for determining if you have a GPU bottleneck or a CPU bottleneck. So right now I see my GPU takes 9.8 milliseconds to make a frame. I'm currently at 82 FPS. CPU is totally fine, it's chilling. It needs like 3 milliseconds to make everything go. And if you notice, okay, maybe I would like 90 FPS. I think the GPU is like on the edge. So let's decrease resolution. You can go to fpsVR, and it's also really nice you have a resolution plus minus setting, 10%. So I hate in the normal SteamVR settings here, back, video. Dragging this slider is really annoying because you can never get it to 100% clean. With this, it's easy. You just press minus plus 10% and then it's good. And then you can reduce the resolution. And now I have the smooth, clean 90 FPS because my GPU has to do less things. And you also know if you're lagging in the world, but GPU is chilling, but CPU is dying, well then you can use your full resolution because it doesn't matter anyway. It's a very useful tool for that. That's basically all I use it for. You can do a lot more things. There's a lot of things. I don't use them. If you think something in there is entirely super useful, feel free to let me know as well. So, I hope maybe anything of this was helpful for you. It wasn't super structured. I hope that was okay, just me yapping about things. If you have really cool bindings that make your VR life a lot easier, please feel free to share. I feel like it's heavily underused. You have a lot of potential to use these things for cool stuff and ease of use and quality of life within VR. So if you have something, please share it in the comments. Also, like other software maybe, like there's OVR dynamic resolution. I don't use it at the moment, but it's also useful. It automatically sets your resolution to hit a target frame rate, which also is pretty nice. I know Gosha is using that. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye bye!